The North Central College softball team turns an at-large bid to regionals into a Sweet 16 appearance before falling to Luther College in the semifinals. But with no seniors on the squad, the team looks to return even stronger next year. We break down the season and look at what's in store for next year right now on the Cardinal Report. Welcome to the Cardinal Report. I'm Marc Dahlquist. Joining me this week is head coach for the softball team, Jim Kulawiak. Coach, thanks so much for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
So it was an exciting season for the Cardinals. As the team makes it all the way to the Sweet 16, you guys finished with a 35-12 record. You got to be pleased with the way the girls really turned on the switch late in the season.
Oh, I don't think there's any question about it. I'm pleased and very happy and proud of them and for them. They did a good job. They hung in there all the way, and hopefully in the future we can maybe do a little better.
Yeah, the team obviously had a lot to build on. You guys started off really great, tapered off a little bit towards the end of the year. And in the CCIW tournament, you guys weren't able to get a win, losing to Carthage and Wesleyan. Were you guys worried that you might not even get into the regional tournament?
Quite honestly, I really wasn't even thinking about it when I came into the office following the tournament that Monday. I got an email saying that we were selected. So I really wasn't even giving it much thought, to be honest with you.
So it was almost like a rebirth, a second chance for you guys to sort of redeem yourselves, and the girls obviously wasted no opportunities in that.
I think that's definitely true. I think we wanted to show that we were deserving and at the same time had not played quite to our capabilities in the previous weekend's tournament.
And do you think that just shows the strength of the CCIW, how all these teams are, between you, Wesleyan, Carthage, Augustan, all these teams seem to be right up there with each other?
I don't think there's any doubt about that when the committee looked at our record and also who we lost to, the quality of the competition definitely was a strong suit in their decision-making process.
So once you found out you guys were in the regional, how do you as a coach sort of flip that switch on and say, all right, it's game time again?
You know, it really wasn't that difficult because they were very excited about it because it is a great honor. And I also think they wanted to prove if they could improve the focus and the performance that we had a chance.
And a lot of young players on this team. Do you think that they showed a little nerves or anything maybe in the conference tournament that were sort of brushed off once regionals began?
I don't necessarily think we showed nervousness. I just think that at the conference tournament we were outplayed. It wasn't that we played poorly, but we didn't play quite to the expectations and the way we had performed earlier in the year.
And obviously close games in that conference tournament. Do you think that helped fuel the hunger for this team?
Well, again, I think if you look at most of our losses, we were in the games. We were missing a hit here or there, or maybe a great play here or there. So when you're that close, it can be turned around, if the consistency will be there.
And take us back to the beginning of the season when you guys went on that amazing run to start off, obviously setting a school record for most wins ever to start the season. How did that sort of affect the team and get the ball rolling?
I don't think there's any doubt that had an effect on us. You build confidence and momentum, and you try to carry it over when you get back up here north, and we did for a while. And then I think we had a couple injuries that crept in that certainly slowed us up too.
But obviously injuries, a lot of teams have to battle through that. But how do you think that affects this young squad, knowing that they can come back from injury and help them in the years to come?
Well, I think one of the things that you try to learn is that you're going to have some type of adversity in one way or another during the course of the year and in a career. And you have to be able to deal with it, and the outcome will make you a better and stronger person, and the same for the team.
Do you think it was a little extra special in those regionals where you guys were able to beat Carthage and Illinois Wesleyan, which you hadn't been able to do the previous weekend?
I don't think there's any question it was a great accomplishment because those are two very fine teams. They've got very good pitchers, especially Leeser over at Carthage, and we had difficulty with her. So being able to come back and beat them in the conference tournament was a really good achievement.
And obviously Luther College was the one school that gave you some problems there in that tournament. What do you think it was about them, the way they played, that the Cardinals just couldn't get over the top?
Well, you got to give credit to their pitcher. It starts with her. She's an All-American, and Geez, I think she's won over 80, 85 games in her career, and she's only a junior. Along with that, they play very good on defense. They don't make mistakes, and they scrap. Every person that comes to the order, through the batting order, is a tough out.
And the Cardinals, you guys obviously had some moments of greatness there in that tournament, specifically a 5-run fifth inning against Illinois Wesleyan. That really seemed to hit the ball rolling.
Yeah, I think we were a little more consistent there, and I think they really took on the opportunity of the challenge, the time, right at the moment.
Well, you guys definitely rose to the challenge. And don't go away, because after the break, we continue to break down a great season in Cardinal softball with Coach Kulawiak right after this.
Yes, ready.
Oh, come on, Randy. Animal shelter, here I come. And no, I'm not crazy or emotionally damaged. That's a stereotype. I just belong to a total loser. I'm a good dog. So if you want a pet, adopt. And if you see Randy, tell him he dropped his wallet.
Welcome back to the Cardinal Report. With us still is head softball coach, Jim Kulawiak. Coach, so we talked a little bit about the team in the regional tournament, but let's talk about the players that made up that team, and particularly on the mound. Vlastimanja really coming through, pitching all 5 games in that regional tournament. She was really your ace in this whole season. She
did a marvelous job. It's difficult not only to perform well, but to perform at that level against the quality of competition. And you know, there's a certain amount of pressure that goes along with it, and I thought she handled herself extremely well.
And it seemed like you giving her the ball every day put a little bit more pressure on her, but she seemed to rise to that pressure instead of buckle underneath it.
I would agree. I think she responded very well. She knew, because Andrea Starr got hurt, and although she tried to come back, struggled a little bit, that more was going to be placed upon her, and she accepted the challenge very well.
And it wasn't only the people on the mound that were doing great things, but the batters in the batter's box really were getting it done for the Cardinals. You had a whole lineup that's young that was really hitting well all year.
I think for the most part early in the year we were very consistent, and we had some struggles there from the middle to about 3/4 down. And then I think toward the end here we kind of recovered a little bit.
But don't you think it was a nice showing sometimes when the Cardinals would be down and you guys would fight back in these games and really just put pressure on the other team?
Well, one of the things that we do try to talk about is some teams are very tough when they get a lead, but they can't come back. They're more considered front runners. When things are going well, they're going well. The real teams that I think are competitors and are strong are the teams that can come back when they need to, because you're not always going to be ahead.
Yeah, it's easy to be the first horse out of the gate, but it's the first horse across the finish line that really matters. And the Cardinals showed that this year. You guys obviously were that first horse out of the gate, had a target on your back, but in the end, you guys really came back and showed it to the rest of the conference that, we are just as good as everybody else.
Yeah, I think having a quality of not giving up and, as you said, finishing the game right to the end, to the last out, really is important, and I think it was a strong trait of ours.
And the fact that this team is so young, girls batting like Amanda Walker, Kirsten Tinkoff, you got to be glad that a lot of this lineup is going to be back next year.
It's encouraging. I just hope that they realize you can't rest on what you just did and the way we finished. There's always someone else out there, and other schools are going to bring in other athletes, and it's not going to be an easy road. I think if they put in their time and effort, though, that we certainly can compete with all the teams that will be on our schedule.
And this year, you guys didn't have any seniors on the team. Was that difficult for you as a coach, just not having that leadership, or did other girls step up and really embrace that role?
I thought we had a few people that did a pretty good job in that respect. Obviously, it's nice having senior leadership, but unfortunately, it didn't work out that way for this past season. But I think in the future, we've got some people that'll do a nice job in that area.
Taylor Ryan and Vlastimanja really seem to be the leaders on this team early on. How have they sort of helped groom the young players and help them, get better as the season progressed?
Well, I think one of the things that always helps is both of them had been on a conference tournament champion and also had been to the regionals previously, so that you can always draw from that experience that you had, and you try to relay that a little bit to some of the people that have not quite gotten to that point yet, and I think it rubs off to an extent.
Do you think that this lineup will look pretty similar, or you just never really know until you start the next season?
You know, you don't know. Things always change. I do believe that we have a few people coming in that can certainly add to this current squad we have. But exactly how things are going to shake out, you just don't know until we get to that point.
And the fact that you guys got 35 wins this year, third most in school history, and you had that great start, do you think there's going to be a little bit more pressure on this team next year to perform up to expectations that were set this year?
Well, one thing about pressure is self-inflicted. You're the one that determines that. And as long as you go about your business and put in your time and effort and you're well prepared, I think those things work themselves out.
What about you as a coach? Are you going to raise your expectations a little bit, or are the expectations always high going into a new season?
I think the expectations are always high, but at the same time they have to be realistic. Mm-hmm. And obviously I think my expectations for next year are certainly greater than they were coming into this season. I mean, that's pretty much a common sense approach. So, you know, from my perspective as a coach and with our staff, you know, more is expected from us individually and collectively.
And really, there's no off season for the coaching staff. You guys are already out there getting ready to start recruiting, looking already ahead to next year, while the girls may be, you know, icing some injuries.
Right. We have to go over and evaluate some of the things that we did, see what we need maybe to improve upon or take out or add, and the recruiting scenario just never stops.
Well, Coach, it was an exciting season, and congratulations to you and your team. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you so much.
When we return, we welcome in two Cardinals that helped lead the team to a season that will go down in the record books. Don't go away.